In this episode 11 of The Daily Hustle, we talk about the 7 steps to building a kick-ass sales team, and Marshall goes way off script.
Broadcasting from the box that rocks and Thrive15.com world headquarters, it's The Daily Hustle with Daniel McKenna.
What is going on, guys? Welcome into episode 11 of The Daily Hustle. And if you're trying to grow your sales organization, or maybe you just want to get your sales team a boost, today's episode is going to be huge for you. I implore you to stick around and watch this one. It's going to be really big for you and your team. I am Daniel McKenna. This is Marshall Morris. And if you don't know who we are, I am the co-founder of Epic Productions and Thrive15.com. Marshall is an author and founder of Madness Media, as well as a business consultant here at Thrive15, where he helps dozens and we help hundreds of people all over the nation grow their businesses through marketing, through websites, through workflows, through checklists, and thousands of people all over the world through the Thrive15.com platform.
That's right.
Marshall Morris, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing spectacular, and I have to say I admire your leather jacket.
Thanks, buddy. I'm going for the old, I can do what I want. I'm a rebel. I can do what I rode here on a motorbike. That's the look I'm going for today.
I find it interesting that you chose to wear blue on Wednesday.
Well, just switching things up. Typically, I go with the salmon on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Today's going to be blue.
That's right. That must be a new shirt.
Obviously it is. All right, so in this episode, we're going to answer your question about building a sales organization. So, Marshall, I'm going to kick it over to you. Go ahead and hit us with the question here, sir.
Okay. But bam, I'm gonna get a little bit of like some mojo going.
Please
here.
do. Okay.
Okay. So here's the question that we have today from one of our Thrivers named Kathy.
Ooh.
Okay. So this is what Kathy says. Hi, Thrive team. I am trying to scale my agricultural equipment business. We sell commercial grade farm tools and machines. It seems that if I am personally the one on the phone, we can make sales. But anytime I bring someone in to help, they don't sell anything. I don't see how I can build my business bigger than it is now if I'm the only one selling anything.
So that was from Kathy asking about how to scale her business, how to scale a sales organization in the business. By the way, we answer these questions on Thrive15.com, from Thrive15.com actually, as well as Twitter and on Instagram. You can also find us on podcasts on iTunes. So check it in there. But if you have a question, send those in. We want to answer your questions and provide you a lot of value. So let's jump into this for Miss Kathy here. This is the 7 steps to building a kick-ass sales team. And I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
If you didn't see yesterday's episode was all about selling more stuff. So if you have not seen that one, make sure you watch that one. That was all about the rapport, the needs, the benefits, the close, the isolating the objections, the formula. The formula you got to know to be good at sales. Okay. This is about building your team. So if you haven't seen that one, go watch it. This one's about building your team. Go ahead and get us a step 1 of the 7 steps to building a kick-ass sales team here, Marshall.
Okay, step 1 is the sales team must know their daily KPIs, key performance indicators.
So give me an example of a key performance indicator, a KPI.
How many sales calls per day did an individual make?
What would be another one?
How many appointments were set by said individual per day?
Maybe one more.
How many deals have been closed by a specific individual per day?
So these are numerical, measurable things that your sales team must know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into a quote here from Mark Cuban, Mark Cuban.
Did you just call him Marky?
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
I did not call him Marky.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, Marky Mark Cuban.
Okay.
Is how he prefers to be called, I think.
Oh, yeah. Inner circle.
Owner of the Dallas Mavericks. If you've not seen him, he's on Shark Tank. He's owned several other businesses. No big deal. He's a billionaire. No big deal. He owns a basketball team. He says, in sports, the only thing a player can truly control is effort. The same applies to business. The only thing an entrepreneur, salesperson, or anyone in any position can control is their effort. I had to make sure I wasn't lying to myself about how hard I was working. It would have been easy to judge effort by how many hours a day passed while I was at work. That's the worst way to measure effort. Effort is measured by setting goals and getting results. What is Mark Cuban talking about here? What are we with this whole, like, we got to know our numbers, we got to know our KPIs, Mark Cuban's like, if you measure your day by hours, that's a way. What is he talking about here, Marshall?
So especially Mark Cuban, owner of a basketball team, is business is a contact sport, so you must keep score. Okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, how do you know whether or not you've won or lost?
How many days, you've worked here for a long time, so we measure everything.
Yeah.
So this maybe doesn't apply. But for a while, you were working in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
How many days did you have where you didn't have anything necessarily measurable you're aiming at, and thus the goal was to be there from 9 to 5 and to try your hardest?
Well, I would say personally, because just, I learned a lot of these principles early.
Okay.
I had metrics that I held myself accountable to.
Okay.
I needed to call this many people per day. Where I would say that maybe it kind of fell apart is maybe collectively as a team, we weren't holding ourselves accountable to specific metrics, specific checklists, specific measurables.
Okay, so Marshall's a weird guy that understood this stuff already.
Yeah.
With the businesses that either you work with or you see through the Thrive platform,
yeah, how
many of them are just saying, we're just trying to sell stuff. We got our team, or I'm making calls, or I get in there and sometimes I get busy. Sometimes I've got other things going on. I can't make very many calls. How many of this is measured by I'm going to be here X to X and try my hardest during that time, as opposed to having something measurable, a specific number that you're aiming at?
I would say 75% do not have numbers, key metrics that they track.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens if you do not have key metrics? What happens if you so like when we started out making calls did you ever make calls for the DJ company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Clay Clark, he is the COO of Thrive15.com. How I got my start with knowing Clay Clark was working sales for the DJ company, the media company he had. And you would start out as a brand new person making about 100, 125 calls a day.
Yeah.
Cold calls to people who did not want to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Like normal, right? And if you did not make that many calls, you got in trouble. And if you did make that many calls and you didn't see any results, then you needed more training. But there was like a baseline saying your effort has to be here for us to be able to measure it, whether you're doing anything right or wrong. And also your effort has to be here for us to know whether we're going to succeed or not succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there was no effort, especially as a new guy, me then, or maybe your team now, as a new guy, I might have thought I'd tried really hard making 30 calls that day. I spent all day long. I made 30 calls. I checked some reports. I went over some numbers. I looked at some customer stuff and made like 30 calls. It was a big day. When really the number needed to be like 3 times that. So what are your KPIs? What are the things that you need your team to do? Maybe it's not 100. Maybe it is 50. Or maybe it's 4 appointments a week. Or whatever it is that for you and your business, whatever those are, you need to know them and your sales team needs to know them. They need to be measured by this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, hit me with step number 2, Marshall.
Step number 2 is the sales team must know their expectations.
So not just the numbers they're aiming at,
mm-hmm.
but what happens if you do or don't hit those numbers?
Yeah.
What happens if you do show up on time or you don't show up on time?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you do show up in dress code or don't show up in dress code? What happens if you read the sales training or don't read the sales training?
Mm-hmm.
It can't be vague. It can't be just, hey, read the sales training. I'll see you Monday. Because most likely it's not going to get read
mm-hmm.
in that case. And also when the time does come, then it's harder to be like, well, we're firing you. Or, well, you're fired. Or, well, because there was no like level of expectations. Ken Blanchard, we're leading a lot on Ken Blanchard in this one. He's the author of The 1 Minute Manager, actually author of 60 different books. His whole company's goal is training the best managers in the world. That's his whole thing. He says, goals begin behaviors, consequences maintain them. Ooh. So goals start out saying, okay, we need you up here. And if you don't get up here, then there's going to be consequences. This is from a guy talking about how to build your best managers in the world. Give me a little bit of insight real quick, Marshall, before we move on to step number 3. Without the carrot or the stick, what sort of motivation is there for a sales guy to actually give a considerable effort, knowing that they're probably going to face rejection, knowing that probably they're not going to get a hold of everybody, knowing that they're probably not going to sell everything every time they talk to somebody. Give me some insight here.
Sounds like a lot like socialism.
Wow, socialism.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, somebody sold something. There we go. Ringing the bell.
Bang.
That's being measured.
Yeah.
That's being currently measured.
That's a reward.
We have expectations.
That's a carrot.
That's a carrot.
Yeah.
Okay. But give me a is it even possible to be overly successful if you're not measuring these things and your team doesn't know the expectations?
No. In fact, I hope people fail if they don't measure these things.
Well, I don't think that you have to even worry about that.
I'm taking it that far.
Well, you can take it that far. It's going to happen one way or the other if they're not measuring these things.
Yeah.
You might have some short-term success.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of business owners, for example, one of the companies that we work with, he sells a very niche luxury product, okay? It's a luxury product, and he sells it, and he's grown $1 million business, and he's tracked his numbers, he's tracked sales, okay? But he hasn't been holding people accountable to specific metrics daily, okay? He's able to grow $1 million business.
Yeah.
But he specifically has to work in that business every single day and therefore cannot delegate it or scale the business.
Therefore, he cannot scale it. Therefore, he's just created himself a job.
Yeah, he's created himself a job. It's a self-employment.
It's not a business.
It's not a business.
If you can't step away from the business and it still operate and people still hit their numbers and still things keep flowing, if you can't not step away from it, then all you've done is create yourself a highly restrictive job.
Yeah. And so in saying that, like, I think people can be successful, but you've not created any kind of time freedom for yourself.
And also, Marshall doesn't like you.
And if you choose not to do that, I do not like you, and I hope that you fail.
Well, there you go. Strong words from a tall man, Marshall Morris.
There it is.
If you do not have sales, you will fails. Marshall Morris.
Yeah, that's a notable quotable.
Notable quotable. Step 3. Let's go to step 3 here. Again, we're talking about the 7 steps to building a kick-ass sales team. Marshall, hit me with step number 3.
Step number 3, the sales team must know core competency skills, key performance indicators.
Okay, so we've already talked about key performance indicators, but now we're adding in core competency skills.
Yep.
They must know how to do their job.
That's right.
Okay. Now, this is where it falls on you, Mr. Manager, or you, in this case, Kathy, or you, if you're at home and you have a sales team, or you're on a sales team and you want your team to get better. There's different ways to do this, but it's falling on you. So some different ways to do this. There's scripts. There's training videos. You can record calls and listen to the calls. You can have people shadow somebody that's actually good at it so they get an idea of how that conversation goes. And these are things we did all the time starting out. And these are things that we do all the time with people here in the building until they get very good.
Mm-hmm. All
the time. All the calls recorded. We watch training videos. There's specific scripts you have to follow. Okay, you're going to shadow. One of the first things we do is have you shadow. Mm-hmm. Sit here for 8 hours and watch him do that job.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do these things, Marshall?
Because if they don't see how to successfully do it, they don't know how it's supposed to look, it'd be kind of like, it'd be handing somebody a basketball and saying, go shoot this basketball, and they've never seen the correct way to shoot a basketball. It's like, it's probably going to be wrong.
It's probably going to be pretty rough.
It's going to be wrong in the sense that it'll be unsuccessful. It'll be wrong in that it'll be alternative to the way that most people shoot a basketball.
It's their interpretation of how to shoot a basketball.
Yeah, it's how they feel like is the best.
So the expectations and the KPIs, you're basically telling them these are the rules of the game.
Right.
This is the score you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're actually showing you how to play the game.
Yep.
This is a big deal. You have to have this step 3. So you got to build your scripts. You have to have training videos or training audio, something for people to refer to.
Yep.
You have to have recorded calls. Why? Because it's easy for me to talk to you as a person one-on-one. Oh, yeah, got it, totally got it. And then I get on the phone and I get weird.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't go exactly according to how the training went. And then I'm like, hang on, just, we don't do that, I don't think. I don't know. I have to ask somebody. And it gets weird. Have you seen it get weird?
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard these calls where it gets weird?
Yeah.
And that way you know there's some transparency, and that's how you can actually help somebody. Shadowing is also the fourth way to do that. So step 3, the sales team must know their core skills. That falls on you, the manager. That falls on you, the leader. That falls on you, the people that want to make your sales team better. Use those things to make your team better. Okay, this next action step, which is going to be number 4, this action step is going to be brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Okay. I love Chick-fil-A.
For no other reason because they operate in an industry that tolerates mediocrity, the fast food industry. Like, mediocrity is like cool.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. You know, it's fast food. Who cares? $5. Who cares? But they're consistently great because of their training, because of their checklists, because of their expectations they have on their team members. Why is it? Okay, so near our office, there's a McDonald's, an Arby's, and a Chick-fil-A. Right next to each other.
Yeah.
Why is it that the Chick-fil-A line is always like wrapping around into the street, and there's literally nobody at Arby's, like literally nobody at Arby's, and McDonald's might have 1 or 2 cars?
Real talk, this Chick-fil-A, I dove into their metrics, mostly because I'm a sick freak. But I asked them specifically about this, but the first time that I had went and gone and seen this. Do you know how many cars they saw an hour?
I don't remember. I remember having that conversation. I don't remember the exact number.
It was something like 180 cars an hour.
I think like it was like 140. They're trying to hit 180.
Yeah, that was their goal. It was 180, and they had hit 140. And they're like the number 2 in the nation for number of cars that they've serviced in an hour. It's insane.
They've got 2 cars, more than 2 cars, driving through all the way through the drive-through every minute.
Yeah. And you just don't stop. It's just like
You're
a
just
carousel.
rolling the whole time.
Yeah. They're like, so they're out there with their iPad. They take your order, and then they get you the receipt, and then they get you the drink, and then they get you the food, and then they get you the condiments, the ketchup, and the sauce, and then you're done.
If you've ever been to Chick-fil-A where like it wasn't a good experience, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like that was weird.
And I want to hear about that experience. I want them to email us.
It was weird.
Yeah.
But I expect that everywhere else. Okay, that was this next action step brought to you by Chick-fil-A, just because.
Number 4.
I love Chick-fil-A. It's delicious. Okay, number 4, hit me.
The sales team must receive daily training.
Daily training. Not monthly. Not quarterly.
No.
John Rockefeller, good management consists in showing average people how to do the work of superior people.
Yeah.
Ken Blanchard, people who feel good about themselves produce good results.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're talking about on the daily, for instance, how we did it. Every morning, sales team, get together, 7:30. What time do we start making calls? 8:30 or 9. 7:30, we're going over yesterday's calls. We're going over the script again. Were you there at DJ Connection where we literally read the script out loud every morning?
Oh, yeah.
Every morning. These are people that have been doing this for over a year. They know the script by heart. And we're all standing up at our desks reading the script again. It seemed really cheesy, but we did it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we went over yesterday's calls. And we went over yesterday's numbers. And we went over yesterday's weird situation. What happened? They said this. I countered with this. Every day. So carve out time in your schedule. If it costs you a half an hour of a day of productivity, you're going to make it up by being better at what you're doing. Carve out time in your schedule to train on every day. Have something. If you're the leader, you have to come in there knowing what you're going to talk about and not get there and be like, so what's up? What's up, guys? What should we talk about? You can't do that. You got to know what you're going to talk about going into it. Mm-hmm. Every day, daily training. That's step number 4. Which, by the way, if you don't, you don't believe us, Dr. Z has the auto auction. He has the optometry clinic. He has 9 different businesses. Okay, whatever. We don't believe him. Clay Clark consults hundreds of different businesses, built the biggest DJ company in the nation from his dorm room. Don't believe him. Okay, a photo company. Typically, photo companies will do 30, 40 events a year. We do 500. We'll do $1 million in sales this year from photos.
Right.
Photo events. Don't believe me. Okay, whatever. John Rockefeller. Okay, so this is what we do, and these are the results. This is what actually works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, got a little Little rant there. Let's go to step number 5.
Step number 5. The sales manager must be committed to the goal of winning and not the people.
Ouch. Marshall, what is step 5 referring to?
Don't get emotionally attached to your team members, because ultimately you have to want to win more than creating a lot of team members.
Yeah. If I'm the leader, if I'm the manager, I have to be committed to winning more than I am committed to Marshall or Andrew or Sam, because it is my job to bring the team up to win. Now, if Marshall or Andrew or Sam or whoever else wants to join me and wants to continue getting better and wants to put in the work, wants to put in the effort, wants to hit their numbers, wants to know their expectations, study their materials, get good at what they're doing, let's go. We're on the same squad. You're going to make money. I'm going to make money. We're going to provide a product or a service that is beneficial for the customer. Everybody wins. But if I have the guy on my team who's not showing up on time, who doesn't study his stuff, who isn't getting better, who isn't putting in the effort, but I like him a lot, that only hurts my team. Therefore, I'm wasting my time and the time of other people that are on the team. That's not the fun part.
No, not at all.
And you know why it's easy to know if people are doing a good job or not? Besides, like, sales numbers.
Yeah.
You know what's easy?
Why?
Because we're measuring key performance indicators.
It's objective. Numbers don't have emotions.
I like Marshall a lot, but he made 20 calls yesterday. I actually don't like Sam very much, but he made 150 calls yesterday. Well, obviously Sam's working a lot harder.
That's right.
We got to keep Sam.
Got to keep Sam.
Okay? You got to be more committed to winning than you are to the people. Now, if you can get your people on board, that's what you want to do, and that's what you ultimately have to do. But you have to be more committed to winning. That was step 5. Step 6, Marshall, hit me with step 6.
Step number 6, you got to commit yourself to holding yourself to a higher standard.
I realize I just skipped something in the step 5. I just wanted to hit on that one more time.
Okay.
Arthur Greeno. We already talked about Chick-fil-A. That's probably why it's on my mind. Arthur Greeno.
Yeah.
When he talks about, employees that aren't cutting it, aren't getting their stuff done. What does he say about those employees once they've had the talk, they've cleared expectations, they said you got to do this, didn't do it. What does he say?
Well, he has to fire him.
And he says he's promoting them to customer status.
I love that.
I think it's hilarious. You're being promoted to customer status, meaning you can buy food from us now.
Yeah.
But you do not work here. I don't know. I think it's hilarious. Okay, step 6. Commit yourself to holding yourself to a higher standard. Ken Blanchard, the 1-minute manager, we talked about him a little bit earlier. He says the way management treats associates is exactly how the associates will treat the customers. Also, the people who work with you as their manager will look to you as one of their sources of wisdom. Meaning, you got to treat people well, and you have to also personally put in the work. If I'm never putting in the work, and I'm hanging out all day, it's going to be hard for you to respect me when I say you need to work harder. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, if I don't treat you well, now, treating you well and treating you nicely are two different things. Being honest with you and candid with you about your work performance and how you're doing and where you can go, that's kind. If I'm saying, hey, you are not getting the job done, I need you to do this differently or you can't work here. That's more kind than saying, hey, it's cool, man. Just try harder yesterday, tomorrow, try harder. Secretly thinking, I hate this guy.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get rid of this guy as soon as possible.
That's right.
As soon as I get someone in here to replace him, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the more mean thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hold yourself to a higher standard in the way that you treat people, in the way that you approach your job, in the way that you approach the excellence of which your product and your service is delivered, how you talk to people on the phone, because how you treat those people and how you treat your associates are how they are going to treat your customers. If you treat them well, they'll treat your customers well. If I make my team feel terrible about what they're doing, they're probably also not going to be super cool to my customers. That's a Lee Cockrell thing he talks about too, with all their castmates.
Cast members.
Cast members.
I guess castmates.
Cast members is probably the right way. Okay, that was step 6. Last step here, step 7, Marshall.
Okay, step number 7 is you have to embrace that management is mentorship.
Management is mentorship.
Yep.
But we just said that we have to be committed to winning and not necessarily people.
Yeah.
Isn't that the opposite here?
That's right.
Okay. Why? What are we saying here? Well, you have to, if you are the man, or you are the woman, you are the dude, the lady, you're the one that makes everything work. If you don't have people that you can hire right away at high salaries to come in there and immediately do the work, if you need to be able to hire people at lower salaries than you have to think about, okay, are these people as skilled, as experienced as I am? Probably not. Almost certainly not. I'm going to have to coach them up. I'm going to have to mentor them. I'm going to have to show them how the world works from my point of view as opposed to whatever their previous life experiences might have been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to show them how we do sales over here as opposed to wherever they've done sales before.
Mm-hmm.
We do it this way. They do it that way. I have to know that I'm going to mentor these people, which, by the way, doesn't only mean do what I told you. It's also like helping them grow. It's helping them grow towards something they want to grow towards too, right? You're learning things along the way.
Right.
Okay. Kenneth Blanchard, one more Kenneth Blanchard quote. The best minute I spend is the one I invest in people. Again, he's all about building managers. The 1 Minute Manager is a great book. Marshall, from your experience, you've seen this here in the building. We've talked about this before on an episode where someone has come in to the office, maybe not a whole lot of overwhelming skills or maybe not like the grandest resume of all time, but they're willing to work.
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to put in the effort.
Yeah.
What kind of transformation have you seen with your own eyes of people from the first day they walk in the building where they're just like, I'll just do whatever. I'll hustle. I'm good. Let's do it. They started off with like not a whole lot of experience, not a whole lot of skills. Where do you see this on this mentorship path? How important is that?
It's very important. I'm going to break it down for you.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm going to go off the script here.
Please.
But I'm very confident in what I'm about to say.
Well, then I'm ready.
Okay.
Do you need to give yourself some mojo?
Maybe. Here, I
You
don't
need to give yourself some mojo
know.
here? Wow. Okay. All right. I feel better about this. This is good.
Okay. Real talk. This is straight from The Innovator's Dilemma. You remember reading that book?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so if you're having trouble sleeping, you read this book, it'll put you right to bed.
Clayton Christensen, right?
Clayton Christensen, Harvard Business Review. It's awesome.
It is a good
Just
book.
very dense,
Yeah.
okay? And so inside the book, some of the awesome nuggets is he talks about 3 things that create value for a business. Number 1, the core values. The core values, they contribute to culture. Okay, the core values are what found the company. It's what the company uses in time of tough decisions. Okay, it's the default. Okay, core values. Number 2, you have systems, workflows, processes. Okay, and so the processes it's like the infrastructure of the business. Am I buying a job or am I buying a system to fulfill a product or service? Number 3 are resources. Okay, and in resources you have the equipment. You have the access to capital, investors, okay, all the stuff, the computers, the keyboards, all the stuff, and you have human capital, okay? So if you tell me that I can invest in people, that it will ultimately create more value for the business, it'll enhance the value of the business, that's awesome. So that's why creating better people, mentoring people within the organizational, that's like a huge win for your company if you can grasp this concept.
You're basically, if you want to look at it from a total business-minded move, I have no emotion, I have no human connection here, I don't care if you personally grow, if you're looking at that, like you're looking at like just bottom line, there's dollars. If that's all you're looking at, growing your people is going to make you more money.
Yep, selfishly. Growing your people will make you more money.
Because what you do and the processes that you perform and the product and the service you provide will get better, meaning customers will buy from you more often and they'll pay you more for it.
Yep.
So if you want to have zero human connection at all, it's still going to make you more money.
Yeah, and we'll get into it in another training, but specifically, this is also found in the service profit chain, okay? by Heskett and Sasser, that book right over there.
Yeah.
But it talks about, employee satisfaction and employee mentorship. It's awesome.
And if you don't want to be the guy that's just like, I only care about dollars, I care about humans, I've seen multiple times where it's to legitimately change people's lives. Being that person that says, I can help you if you will work hard, if you will hustle, I will show you the way.
Yeah, and quit being a jerk.
And quit being a jerk. I've seen that over and over and over where it's completely changed somebody's life.
Yeah.
And it's been something that like they look back on and was like, yeah, I worked really hard then, but that was the greatest education I ever had.
Yeah.
And they actually care about you and the business, and that's only good for your business. That's if you do like humans and, human connection and stuff. Okay, so those were the 7 steps. By the way, one last note here. We have a quote that a quote from Brian Tracy that I'm only mentioning to disagree with. That's the only reason I'm mentioning it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Manage others the way you would like to be managed, is what Brian Tracy says.
And you're disagreeing with Brian Tracy.
Well, I mean, Brian Tracy, he's a well-known author, a well-known speaker.
Very successful.
Very successful. Spoken, I'm sure, in front of millions of people by now. He says to manage others the way you would like to be managed. I would like to disagree.
Okay.
Because I used to hold this same philosophy for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is it doesn't work.
That's true.
That's the problem. It doesn't work. Because the people that work for you have different personalities than you do.
Mm-hmm.
They have different skill sets. They have different things that drive them. They have different reasons for getting up out of bed in the morning. They have different reasons for being excellent than you do. So for a long time, I managed like I wanted to be managed. Turns out not everybody else is like me, though. And so it did not go well. When you start managing by numbers, and yes, you have to adjust a little bit per each person. You have to know what is it that drives him compared to what is it that drives her. You need to know these things. You need to get to know your people. If you just manage people the way you want to be managed, most likely you will not grow very fastly. Because as a human, I don't want to be held to certain numbers. Like, it's the way I would want to be managed. Like, if I got to choose, I don't want to be held to certain numbers. But your business needs that. As a human, I want to come in whenever I feel like it and leave whenever I feel like it. But that's not what your business needs. So, Brian Tracy. I disagree with Brian Tracy on this one. I agree with most everything else he says.
All right.
There's that. That's all. Just wanted
the judger.
Just wanted to bring that in.
You're the judger.
I'm the judger. Those were the 7 steps to building a kick-ass sales team. We've seen this in literally dozens and hundreds of businesses. Following these steps, these exact steps, executing this in your business is going to make you a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make you a lot of money. Let's get on to the daily wins of the week here, Marshall. I need some mojo. Ooh, okay. Okay, I am going to ask you...
Wait, this is not a thing.
No, it's definitely a thing.
I don't think it's a thing.
I mean, if you've seen other episodes, you would know that this is a thing.
It's becoming a thing, and I don't think it is a thing.
I think there's only been one episode where it wasn't a thing.
That
was the one episode I regret.
Don't say that. Everybody turns off the episode at this point.
No, I think this is what everybody sticks around for. Everybody's like not even paying attention to what we're talking about. I'm like, I just want to hear Marshall announce the daily wins of the week. So, daily wins of the week. I need you to announce this like you are Brian Tracy and I just disagreed with you.
What?
So kind of like I don't know, maybe a stern Brian Tracy, or maybe a confused Brian Tracy, or disappointed. I don't know.
A confused, stern Brian Tracy over a band who we can't name. So we
can't name them.
I don't know that. Maybe we should name them so we don't get flagged.
Well, the band is One Republic. I don't know if we can talk about that or not.
Yeah, it was whatever.
Okay.
So a stern Brian Tracy.
Yeah, maybe with a hint of disappointment and confusion.
Okay. Now, Dan, coming up next, we have the daily wins of the week.
No. I've only read Brian Tracy. I don't. Oh, that's not true. I have listened to one of his audiobooks. He doesn't sound anything like that, but I personally appreciate it. Like if that was Brian Tracy, I think I'd like that quote more. I might agree with him. Okay, give me the daily wins of the week. We got a few here for you to choose from, so go ahead and choose one.
Well, we got a couple things here. I'm gonna give you 2.
2?
Yeah.
We got to spread these out, man. I mean, we got shows to record.
We got overload the people.
Okay.
You got to give the people what they want.
Okay.
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, Sushi Fork now open.
Sushi Fork.
Sushi Fork, one of the clients we work with, Sushi Fork.
New restaurant, new franchise concept.
They sell pasta. No, I'm just kidding. They sell sushi.
And it's like a Chipotle style, right?
Yeah, it's a Chipotle style deal. You can find them at sushifork.com.
And they just opened. We did all their marketing, all their
branding, build out, design,
the look, the design, their menus. Just opened right next to Blaze Pizza.
Okay, there it is.
There you go.
Also, Dan Newberry.
Who is Dan Newberry?
Dan Newberry just reelected to Tulsa Senate. Tulsa Senate? Oklahoma Senate. Oklahoma Senate.
Yeah.
I worked with him on a commercial.
Yeah.
and yeah, I was like, why are we going to the Oklahoma State Capitol for the Tulsa Senate? No, Dan Newberry, working with him, and just reelected to the state Senate.
We did his website. We did his marketing materials. We did his video.
I think you produced a video.
I did, in fact.
Did that require you to wake up early?
Yes. But we did, yeah. That was. I mean, that's really cool. One of our clients just got reelected as a senator.
Yeah, that's
and
a
another
real
one of our
thing.
clients just opened up a restaurant for a franchise concept.
A franchise sushi concept that does not sell pasta.
So, like, if you see Sushi Forks everywhere in like 10 years, you can look back to this episode and be like, I remember when they opened up literally the first one.
And they announced their grand opening on the Daily Hustle. Exclusive. That's not true.
They already had the grand opening.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. Well, those are just a couple of our clients. If you don't know what we do here, definitely go check out. If you are interested in growing your business in a significant way, go to thrivetime.show.com/workshops. It's a 2-day, 16-hour business extravaganza that I guarantee will change your business. In 16 hours, it's going to change your business in incredible ways. Or go to thrive15.com, fill out a business evaluation to find out where your business ranks. And I don't even think I'm supposed to say this. I keep getting chastised for doing this, but if you go on there and you fill it out, we'll send you the Thrive ebook for free. I keep getting told not to say that, but you tell them you saw us here on The Hustle, and we'll get it to you. We'll get it to you for free, okay? That book right there, Thrive, How to Take Control of Your Destiny and Move Beyond Surviving Now. That's the Thrive book. Get that on thrive15.com. Okay, Marshall, great episode. Great episode here with you today.
Yep.
Again, if you want to grow your business, check out those things. It's going to be huge for you. Make sure you stay tuned in. Subscribe on YouTube, iTunes. We have the podcast. Hit us up on Twitter and on Instagram for your questions. We cannot wait to show you more. That's Marshall Morris. I'm Daniel McKenna. Bam!